Welcome to our show, Mr. Mantri. It's indeed a pleasure for us to introduce you today in front of the viewers, in front of the investors who had been who had been waiting for you for a long duration of time to be heard and to answer the fundamental questions which are in front of them, which they generally ask me. So today we have a very special person with us who had been a pioneer, a legend in this industry for the last 21 years. After working with the top brands like Crystal and as a financial advisor, he's working as a CIO of White Oak Capitals. So, Mr. Mantri, welcome to our show.
Thank you, Siddharth.
It's indeed a pleasure to be here today, and we would be discussing over a few very fundamental questions, which since time immemorial has been important for the individual investors, and for which the investors will always been seeking the answers for.
Sure.
So, sir, my first basic question: why do you think investment has taken such an important buzz, or has become so important for everybody today?
I think one, of course, is the fact that I think the most central idea why investment has done well is because financial markets have done well in India. Secondly, we did not used to have sizable savings in India. The people who had a lot of savings was limited when you think of 20 years ago. Now there's a sizable savings pool that's been created. Number three, I think the whole financial advisor ecosystem, the whole ecosystem has done a phenomenal job of creating awareness about managing finances and investments well. And of course, all the evolution of the digital platforms and awareness that the information availability, transparency has had a lot. And clearly, I think the biggest proof of that fact is that a lot of people in India have created a lot of wealth to investing well. So people understand that one part of your life, you're going to earn normally money through whatever your role is in life. But the important part is to know how to invest well. That's how it have a lot of influence on your well-being.
So how beautifully sir has answered this question, that why this buzzword investment has taken such a important position in everyone's life, whether it is a middle class individual or a HNI or even a retail investors, and how they are so aggressive in investing their money. Well, so this is making me to dovetail in a further discussion. How can an individual or an investor improve his efficiency when it comes to investments?
I think that's a great, very fundamental question. I think first, I think everybody should invest at least a couple of hours a month to make themselves better aware of financial aspects, every aspects of financial planning, all the investment options. Because unfortunately, the Indian education system does not spend any time on financial literacy. While it's a core essential need in education system fails on it. And it has a lot of impact on your life choices and outcomes, getting your investing right.
Correct.
Secondly, money investing finance is very personal, and it tends to get very emotional. People get emotional impacted by the outcomes. So I think it's important to have an advisor who can advise them, who can be unemotional who understands the technicalities and can give them the right advice, not less emotional in the outcomes that they should be.
Exactly.
Third, I think when the whole discussion of investing, particularly I've even seen with IFAs and all I see, is entirely focused on equities.
Yeah.
Right? It's predominantly focused on equities. If you look at even the IFA community and even those people who do a good job probably manage 15% of clients' money.
Exactly.
If you look at India's balance sheet, half of the money is in real estate. Nobody thinks about volatility or liquidity of real estate. What 8% is in gold. Nobody thinks about volatility of gold. What 30% in some sort of deposits, bank deposits, other deposits again. Nobody thinks there again of volatility there. And then you can think other options like insurance, where there's neither concept of volatility or liquidity.
Exactly.
So 85% of the wealth is where people don't think too much about either volatility or liquidity. The question is, as IFAs, as investors, how don't entirely focused on managing the 15% of equity portfolio well.
Correct.
But actually the large easy way to improve financial outcomes is to start managing 85% better.
Correct.
And financial markets in India now provide a better option. Whether you think of how to get participate as part of the real estate coaching through REITs, whether gold through gold funds. Insurance, of course, variety of products, including bank deposits, including a variety of products that give better outcomes both on return, liquidity, and also the fact that it's more tax efficient.
Exactly.
So I think a lot of people should focus on getting the 85% right. Even if you improve 1 or 2% return there, that's going to have a large impact on your total returns than trying to focus entirely fixated on getting the last 1% return right on equities.
Correct. I mean, how beautifully sir has answered this question, that if we are painting the canvas, which is 85%, which we have to focus over, I mean, where the money is lying into the real estate or, the bank deposits or in some insurance products, which we don't even think about sometimes. I mean, and if we can channelize and mobilize that money in a little better manner, then probably we are almost done with the volatilities and the domestic investors. That entire command would be lying within the domestic investors, isn't it, sir?
Truth.
And I think the bigger answer what sir has already given is that, I mean, today the mutual fund, different type of mutual funds in the form of REITs, in the form of gold funds, in the form of debt funds has already opened the canvas where you can invest primarily in all the segments.
True.
Isn't it so?
Yes.
I mean, wonderful, wonderful. So, sir, this is taking me again to an important thing. Everybody has been talking about SIPs.
Yes.
An SIP is something which is giving you cost benefit averages in terms of, investing your money on a systematic basis. Let's talk about something, a very special thing. What is SWP?
So SWP in a way is a system, the reverse of SIP. SIP, you invest money over a long term into a fund. SWP is a process of withdrawing your saving for use, right? So you can think of your earning life is the period when you invest in SIPs.
Correct.
Create a corpus, and then post your retirement, you use the corpus through an SWP to consume that, your savings, right? Or use the savings. This is actually a very beautiful concept. As of now, we've been, maybe because of the India's demographics, we're largely entirely focused on SIPs.
Right.
I think we're just only talking about the accumulation phase. But we should also start talking about using SIP and SWP combinations to think of retirement planning and long-term objective, and how a certain financial needs post-retirement or working ages can be paid out through SWPs. People try to now use something like a provident fund or a pension fund or insurance policies to get long-term income, right? But I think there are far more elegant solutions available through better returns, better tax outcomes.
Yeah.
By structuring your mutual funds through SWPs.
Wow. So, I mean, SWP is nothing but an outcome of SIPs, the money which you have accumulated over a long duration of time, through which the investors can actually fulfill their old age requirements, whether it is retirement, whether it is some emergency corpus. And the most important thing for the viewers is that the tax efficiency is well taken care of when we are using an SWP option, which your other financial instruments would have never been able to give you that. So, sir, taking this discussion a little further, can you please tell investors about the tax efficiency which this entire asset class of mutual fund is bringing onto the table of the investors?
So I think one clearly, of course, is on an aggregate basis, clearly now mutual funds through variety of products either have the equivalent or the best in class tax efficiency. At the end of the day, when you think of when we start with equities, the fact that on a 1 year basis you get a long term, right? So for example, let's say someone invests directly into equities, then the dividend they end up paying a marginal tax. Whereas they accumulate the dividend through a mutual fund, then it gets transferred from dividend taxation, the normal marginal taxation, to capital gains. And if you hold it for more than a year, then it translates to a 12.5% tax. So as you become longer term investors, your tax efficiency improves with these products. So often there are advantages. This is the most best structure created in India for long term investors.
Wow. I mean, tax efficiency is something I think which your chartered accountants have always been telling you about. That generally happens when the financial year comes to an end. So, I mean, sir has beautifully told about the fact that mutual fund is also one of the instrument where the tax efficiency is well taken care of. So, with this question, I would like to ask you one basic question. Multi-asset
Yeah.
is an all-weather strategy,
Yeah.
which is gaining prominence
Yes.
by leaps and bounds. Please, we would like you to kindly throw some light so that the viewers who is watching this show globally can get enlightened over the multi-asset strategy.
Yeah. So, the idea of a multi-asset fund is you mix at least 3 asset classes together to create a product outcomes that is very different from. So just to give you a chemistry concept, that when you combine two atoms of hydrogen with one atom of oxygen, you get water which has very different properties from hydrogen and oxygen.
Exactly.
And when you combine 2 atoms of hydrogen with 2 atoms of oxygen, you get hydrogen peroxide, which has very different properties. So when you combine different assets in different forms, you may get a return stream which is very different from the underlying constructs. Now, if you think about just a multi-asset, broadly the main 3 assets. Yeah, so multi-asset funds typically bring 3 asset classes together, which is equities, fixed income, and gold. First of all, equities and fixed income don't have any correlation, right? And the beauty of gold and equities is they have a very large negative correlation at work. So basically, why both the growth assets, volatile assets, which is equities and gold, have good long-term outcomes, particularly in rupees when we see in India. When you combine them, you get a very interesting stream which subdues the volatility because of the negative correlation. Now, multi-asset funds, if they are predominantly equity, then they're not very different from classical equity. The idea is to combine these asset classes in a very interesting way that you create a risk and return profile which is different. At White Oak, we have attempted to create a multi-asset fund which sits between a fixed income and equity as class in the middle in terms of risk return characteristics, so that it doesn't compete with an equity product. It actually starts competing with a long-term fixed income investment, where probably the product can offer better returns, exactly, better liquidity, and of course better taxation.
So for our viewers, I mean, this answer which sir has given, it's very, very important to understand, and especially the painters and artistic people with acumen will understand this. It's rightly said, when blues and blacks, greens and yellows mix together, it gives entirely a different flavor, and that is what multi-asset strategy is. And different fund houses are coming out with their multi-asset allocation funds, which are doing wonders, because in terms of stability, in terms of creating a different taste altogether for the viewers, and most importantly, the taxation part, which sir has already talked about. So this is taking me to the last and a very fundamental question, and very important for the viewers to understand this as well. What do you think are the pitfalls for investments?
I think first of all, it is investing will have a large impact on your happiness and life outcomes.
Correct.
So one, people need to get expertise, which means you need to get in a trusted advisor or an expert to guide you around this thing. So don't go by random advice, stock tips. This has a very large influence on your life outcomes. So this requires a very structured, proper approach. Please approach it professionally, just like you would get a house designed properly, right? Get a professional expertise and learn to pay up for that expertise. It's going to make a lot of difference. Number two, one of the easiest thing, because in investing is very emotional, and you get a lot of people around you do it so well in investing that you like to copy them.
Yeah.
Going after things that are very hot, whether it's asset classes or even sectors, something is like a diabetic wants to have a sweet.
Yeah.
It feels good for some time, but the end you end up health bad, elsewhere financial. So make sure you are disciplined. You need handholding, and it's important to manage your temperament. That's why you need an expert, and don't chase what's hot in the market.
So dear viewers, the answer which sir has given might have definitely helped you out in enlightening you and understanding that there is no rat race. I mean, you should not be just chasing returns for the reason of getting very high returns into your portfolios, making them to accomplish your goals, and so on and so forth. Understand that everything comes with its own cost. So it is very important to be technically sound, to be financially literate, and also be aware of the fact that aggressively chasing the returns will not help you out in long run. So with this, we come to an end of the show, sir. Thank you so much for enlightening the viewers, the investors, about what is how efficiently the investments should be done, what are the pitfalls of efficiency, and most importantly, the taxation part, which primarily is the most important thing. So thank you, sir, for coming over.
Thank you, Siddharth. Thank you for hosting.
Indeed, a pleasure. Thank you.